This video from Sam4S Help, we're taking an overall look at how to use a retail cash register. So we've produced another video on hospitality tills, so if you're using a flat keyboard machine, perhaps in a cafe or bar, you might want to check that video out. But in this video we're looking at a standard shop till. The model we're using is the NR500, and in particular it's the 510 version, but generally on retail cash registers how you use the till doesn't really vary from one manufacturer to another. The tills are almost universally laid out in the same way, so you'll have a panel of function buttons here. So these are buttons like turning the receipt on and off, login on button, return button, clear button, discount button, all that sort of thing. Here you tend to have your number keypad, so this is where you type in the amount of money that is either being tendered or the value of the product that you're selling. Third column tends to be PLU or department buttons, so they are the actual items that are being sold. And then you tend to have a fourth block of function buttons that are to do with actual payments. So I'll run through it all. One of the important things is to make sure that the key for the till is in the reg mode. Most traditional cash registers will have a key lock, generally on the right hand side of the machine, and the manager will supply, or the cash register will be supplied with different keys, and depending on your authority level you'll be able to turn to different modes to either void transactions, process transactions, run reports, or do programming. So generally 99 times out of 100 you'll have the key in what's called the reg, or reg 1 mode, depending on your machine. Some machines like this one will then confirm you're in the reg mode, so this one says register mode, nice and obvious, so you know you're in the correct mode for sales. The other thing to make sure is that you're actually logged in. So on this machine, again it's quite a modern machine, so it's very helpful. It tells you that you're not logged in, so if we try to process a transaction now, nothing happens because the machine's closed. Logging in on the tills will vary from one machine to another, and on some machines you won't have to do it. So on this machine you simply press the number of your clerk, so number 1, and then this clerk hash button. This is quite a common button on this level of cash registers across the range of manufacturers. Again, some tills like this one will confirm someone's logged on by having the clerk number somewhere on the screen. And the Sam4S's, it's quite obvious. Okay, so once you know you're in the reg mode and you've got an operator logged in, you can basically process transactions. Now, generally on retail tills, you'll either have what are called open department buttons or pre-programmed buttons, and you could also be using a barcode scanner. I'll have a separate video on showing you how to use the barcode scanner products. This one's for a basic retail till. Normally your buttons will say on them what they are. So this one is a lottery button, so because it's preset you simply press the button and it comes up with a price and the description on screen. You can multiply, so if you've sold say 10 lottery tickets you could type in the amount here, and then there'll be a multiply button somewhere on the till. On this machine, on the Sam4S, it's X time, so 10 times, and then you hit the button. The other type of sale you might be asked to do is a open transaction, an open product or an open department. So this is where the till is set up with a button that has a variable price, so it's more commonly for a grouping of products. The way you process these is you simply type in the price without pressing the decimal point and then hit the button. So it's price, then the PLU button. If you try and press a unpreset product, you'll generally just get an error message asking you to enter the price. You'll notice I didn't press the decimal point. Most tills will program or input the decimal point automatically for you. So if you try and put in the decimal point, you get a sequence error or an error message come up. That's a really common thing to happen on cash registers, and we get lots of calls about it all the time saying we've got a sequence error, and a lot of the time it's because someone's putting in the decimal point rather than just entering the value. So it's always the amount and then the button, unless the button is pre-programmed with a preset price. And obviously as you go along you'll get to know what's preset and what's not. Once you've entered the items and you're happy with that everything's correct, you would normally hit the subtotal button, and then you need to cash the sale off. So this depends, what you do now depends on how the customer's paying. If they're paying by cash, then I'll show you how to cash off a sale now, and then I'll do another transaction, show you how to process the transaction if it was a credit card payment. So this sale subtotal is 41.48. So if the customer hands over £50, 5000, again, you'll notice I didn't enter the decimal point. The till's put that in there for you already. And then you've got a cash button here. Generally, most cash registers that I've come across always have the most popular method of payment button on the bottom right hand corner. Obviously that yours may be different, but it will be fairly obvious as to which button you press. So then when you press the cash button, the till drawer will open, allowing you to dispense the change. The reason why we type in the amount of money tendered is that it makes the issuing of change more straightforward. So when you're counting out the change, if you get distracted, it's still shown on screen. If I just hit the cash button without pressing the 50 or entering the 50, then I'd be reliant on my memory. On this till, and on quite a lot of tills, also if you enter the amount of money tendered, so the £50, you get on the receipt the amount of change to hand over. So that's quite useful. Some of the other basic functions, so we'll do a credit card transaction, but we'll also show you some of the other functions that might be on your register. So if you make a mistake on a till, people tend to make a mistake on the till, they tend to panic, but there'll always be a way of correcting an error on a machine. You'll either have an error correct button, so that it'll either say last item void or error correct, and if we feed this receipt on a touch, you can see it's just basically minor stuff. I'll tear that bit of the receipt off. You've entered goods 199 into the goods 1 or the T1 goods department, and then you've error corrected it, so the sale's back to 0. If you make lots of mistakes, so say you press that button too many times and you want to cancel the sale, or if the customer cancels the order before paying, you'll generally, almost universally, have a cancel sale button, which will just totally wipe the transaction. So it means that the till drawer doesn't open and you don't end up with erroneous figures on your end of day report. Okay, so I'll quickly show you how to do the credit card transaction. Obviously you run the payment through the credit card machine. So if we, let's say 5 times lottery and then £7.50 into this button here, subtotal. So that part of the transaction is exactly the same. If you're now running the payment through your card terminal and the card payment is successful, you then, instead of hitting cash, you hit this button here, charge, and obviously this is unique to this machine, so the SAM4Ss tend to use the word charge for the credit card. Your till may be slightly different, but your manager will have explained which button to press. But basically you press that button. Obviously with a credit card payment there's no need to enter the amount because you're charging the amount to the card, the exact amount to the card. Again, you'll probably get a receipt printout to hand over to the customer. And if it's a card machine that prints out a copy for yourselves, for your business, then it's common practice to then put your copy of the card payment into the till drawer. The reason why you tender the sale in a different way depending on how they've paid is to do with the manager's end of day report. So when they're trying to cash up the till at the end of the day, they'll have an overall sales total, but they'll also have a separate total for cash payments and for card or charge payments, and it just makes it a hell of a lot easier to work out how to use. Okay, so I hope that video has been helpful. As I say, we've got other videos showing you how to use hospitality style flat keyboard machines and also touchscreen tills. Bearing in mind, obviously this is a general video on how to use any cash register. There will be variances between them, and I'll put up other videos showing you how to do more detailed processes on the machines. So please feel free to check those out. You can also subscribe to this YouTube channel or visit samforesthelp.co.uk for more. Thanks for watching.